I just moved it closer to my mouth.
That's what we want.
Good low-tech solution. Yeah. That's what we want.
All right. Well, how about let's get started here, guys. So welcome to a podcast of Rare Antiquities. So we're going to do something a little special today. It's January 14th of 2021. Tomorrow on the 15th, WandaVision premieres on Disney+. Like we did with Star Trek Picard, our show reviewed every single episode, and I think we are intending to do that for this series. I guess we have with us today Geoff and Nathan joining us, but I'll turn it over to you, Geoff. When I proposed this, why were you interested in doing this one? For any particular reason? As like a show, like to do every episode?
Well, I mean, I'm just down to do the podcast, man. That's really the main reason. I mean, I'm looking forward to the show because it seems like a total departure for Marvel. Like, what other reason I'm into it? This is the first MCU show, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't count because boring. But yeah, what a departure. Like, I don't know what else to say. I've been keeping myself as far away from any information about it other than the general premise. So, which even that I don't understand. So I can't wait to see what this is all about. And I really hope there's going to be a whole heck of a lot to talk about.
Here. Nathan, any thoughts, opening thoughts on WandaVision here?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Just the weirdness of it. I looking forward to see if it's actually as weird as all the promo material has indicated it should be. Yeah,
no, for me, it definitely looks unique. I wouldn't say weird. I do agree with you, Geoff, that this does look like a departure for what the MCU typically does. But why don't we hold off a tiny bit on WandaVision? Throughout our podcast, we've talked about a tiny bit about the MCU. I think we've mainly focused more of a couple of episodes on the DC EU. Is it the DC EU or whatever it's called? I'm not sure.
Who the fuck knows?
Who knows?
Warner actually doesn't even call it that. I remember reading an article, is a couple of years ago now, where someone at Warner Brothers said, well, we don't really call it that. Just journalists just started calling it that. And, that's just a thing that's out there, but they don't really even name it anything.
Okay. Well, yeah, because we've touched upon a couple of those episodes with Superman or Batman. We've only kind of, the MCU has kind of just whiffed us by over these past 5 years doing the podcast. We haven't done any episodes, so this will be our first foray into the MCU. So I thought I'd ask you guys just briefly, even though I kind of have a vague idea of what you guys think about the MCU as a whole, but you can lay it out here on this episode, your thoughts. Nathan, how about you go first. Let us know your thoughts about the MCU as a whole. Anything you want to talk about, favorites, not what you like, don't like, and lead up to WandaVision, how you think it'll all lead up into there.
Well, I remember early on, I was highly skeptical that it would ever work. Like around the time that Iron Man came out, movie news on the internet was very different then than it is now. I'm not sure if Geoff remembers this, but I remember being highly skeptical and thinking that if Captain America and Thor whiff it, then it's all over. But then when Avengers came out, I was so drinking the MCU Kool-Aid at that point, and I just haven't gotten off that train. I think after Avengers, the only one I never saw in the theaters was Thor: The Dark World. And yeah, I really like it. I mean, it's a solid 3-star action franchise. It's never been like truly like life-changing for me per se, in the sense that it's elevated the art of cinema, but it really scratches an itch for me with like its superheroes. I love crossovers. I love big bombastic movies like this. And I've just enjoyed the ride this past decade plus of it. I mean, for like some of my favorites, I know a lot of people say Civil War is kind of a bit of a mess. I really like it, flaws and all. I like Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm really even, I think, on all of them, where I have like a really high opinion of all of them, and then it dips a little bit further for like a few entries.
Okay, Geoff, yourself.
Well, I'd say, overall, I'm a fan. I think I'm the same as Nathan. I've seen all of them. I was there on opening weekend for everyone except for Thor 2, which is quite possibly the worst one. I guess we could debate it. Who cares? I gotta give them credit. They went for it. Like I feel like the DC movies, they tried every whether you want to go back to Christopher Reeve and Richard Donner, you want to do like Tim Burton and Michael Keaton, you want to do Christopher Nolan, or you want to do the Zack Snyder stuff. None of them really went full comic book on the lore, and the Marvel movies just went full comic book. They got the crossovers, they got the storylines from the comic books. They just went for it. They managed to strike the right tone, almost by accident, I think. But great things come from accidents, almost always. I think that the tone of Iron Man, thanks to Jon Favreau, thanks to Robert Downey Jr., I think they got some alchemy there that they weren't really expecting. But that tone carried it through by accident. And you really got to give them credit that they saw it, they recognized it, and they were able to pile everything on it. Like they were able to put everything on the back of that tone because they could do anything at that point. Guardians was wild. Even the first Captain America was wild. You get, and then all of a sudden you got Captain America murder punching a giant purple alien on another planet. Like, well, no, I guess he never went to another planet, but you know what I mean? Like the whole thing gets insane to think of where it all started, and you totally go with it. You totally buy the whole thing. You got to really take your hat off to it. Like I think Thor Ragnarok is probably the best Marvel movie. I think my favorite is probably Endgame, though. I think like there aren't many 3-hour movies that I can sit through and be like, like have it feel like 20 minutes. It's a really good movie, and I love watching it. So yeah, I'm into it. As far as artistic achievement goes, I think that's partly why I'm so interested in WandaVision. It looks like they're actually trying to do something really different with it. So I appreciate that they're going for it. They have the currency now to do whatever they want. So and I'm glad they're going to spend some of that currency. Let's do it. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think I'll echo some of what you guys have already said. I think you hit the nail on the head, though, Geoff, with tone. What I kind of think about is a balance of, you're finding that sense of, comic book spirit and fun, and you can still talk about, even if it's on a high level, tackling some other issues. Like they're not really diving into any social commentary or anything like that. But what I really dug about the Marvel franchise is that while you had your independent movies, there was a through line, not just because, of Feige or anything like that, but just, how the characters will develop. You had Captain America, who's this ideal Boy Scout who is a natural leader. And then you have another unnatural leader in his opposite in Tony. And they eventually came and butted heads with each other. And you could see a little bit of that develop through the course of the movies. You're getting a sense of who they are in their independent movies. Then you're seeing that develop in the Avenger movies. And then they finally, over a certain issue, draw their lines, their moral grounds in Civil War. And I found that actually quite fascinating. I really dug it. And then that still had implications all the way through till pretty much even in Endgame, Infinity War and Endgame. So I dug it. I'm not huge on most of the Marvel movies, though. Independently, I dug Ant-Man. I think after watching the MCU now with my kids, and it's not because of my kids' reaction, I've actually started to appreciate Ant-Man a little bit more, just for its humor and just for its creativity. Yeah. So I really dig Ant-Man. But Captain America's still my guy. I still like Iron Man, of course. But yeah, I think Civil War, Winter Soldier, the original Iron Man, and of course Infinity War and Endgame are probably the best of the bunch for me. So regarding WandaVision, now we can roll into that. Obviously, I don't know spoilers or for the show or the series or anything like that, but I'm assuming you guys have seen trailers, correct?
Yes.
I have not. No.
Oh, okay. So Geoff, you have not. Okay. You haven't seen a single piece.
No. I haven't.
You should have said that before we did this episode. What the
I
fuck are we going
told
to talk
you
about?
I fucking told you last week that I hadn't seen anything, I didn't know anything, and I didn't want you guys to spoil anything for me on this episode. And you assured me that that wasn't going to be the case.
You didn't say you didn't see any trailers, though. Because I don't know spoilers.
When I said I didn't...
Somebody roll the tape. Roll the tape.
Well, you can hang up now, I guess. I don't know. Obviously, you know that. Okay, we already know that Vision is dead. At least you know that there is this. You know that. Spoilers for those who haven't.
Yeah, I've seen the movie where he dies. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So obviously, I know the state of the MCU at the present time, and I understand the structure of this show as like they're doing like sitcoms through the years, but I have no idea how it connects or what it looks like to the overall MCU or how it all fits together. I don't know any of that. I don't know what the trailers.
But I don't know any of that.
Actually, if anything, like not spoiling anything, like from what I've seen, and I'll just describe. I won't describe what I've seen. I'll meta like what I have watched is fine. Trailers, a couple of clips.
It's fine.
Okay. But my understanding, okay, so I've watched the trailers, a couple of clips that they've released, and I watched one non-spoiler review today. Okay. My understanding from all of that, and it's not really spelled out, but I think where it sits within the larger MCU is actually not known right away. And
that's good. That's good. But for me, I didn't even care about any of that, like where it sits. This is obviously, to me, will have to take place after. Just based on the trailers, have to take place after Endgame. So after Infinity War and Endgame, we know Vision is gone. So that's not a spoiler for you, Geoff.
Right.
But obviously, the show is about Wanda and Vision, which takes place after that, right?
Yeah, I know that.
I'm just making sure. I don't know.
I've seen
Spoiler: Wanda and Vision are in this show.
It's just Wanda. Let's cover half of it for Geoff.
Oh, that would have been actually pretty funny. You come into it thinking it's untitled Marvel TV show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's all I know.
That's great. Well, anyways, I will. So, anyways, we know in the movies that they were apparently developing some kind of relationship, intimate or otherwise. And it's going to be interesting in this series.
I think it was intimate.
I think it's pretty clear cut.
Intimate or otherwise.
Intimate or otherwise?
Yeah.
I don't think it was platonic in any shape, way, or form.
No, she was jumping on that robot cop, Harry. Come on.
But anyways, they have a relationship, so this show will be exploring, I guess, the fallout of her losing Vision. And I think that's going to be the interesting aspect. And that's not a spoiler. I don't know. I'm just making a guess.
Again, I don't even think it's even that clear cut.
It may not be.
Because I mean, we actually don't even know that this technically takes place after. Well, I guess Infinity War, or I guess by extension Endgame, since she also died at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
So we don't. I mean, there's a lot of assumptions. Just kind of what I read a lot of about this, like how is he back? Or they're going to explain it, and she's doing this thing, but I'm not so sure that's even necessarily the case. It may be. I really don't know.
You know what I want to know? But I want to know what the pitch was for this movie or this TV show. They're like, hey, this is the first Disney Plus MCU show. Like, who traveled forward from the 80s? What coked up Hollywood executive traveled forward from the 1980s? It's like, okay, I got it. We're going to do this sitcom, and it's going to be the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. Only they're going to be these two superheroes. It's going to be all fucked up. And Feige was like, give this man a gold star.
I love the quote, by the way. But anyways,
you're welcome.
Yes, but I agree. I think that's going to be another topic we could, something that we could talk about, or something that fascinates me is the format in which they're going to be doing the show. So now that you've mentioned it, Geoff, we don't have to worry about spoiling it for you. Yes, I believe the intention is for each of these episodes is they are going to be doing a set piece from a 50 sitcom, 60s, 70s, 80s, and so on. So I think that will be a fascinating watch for me. I think that's something that I'm really looking forward to. From what I know, I wouldn't be surprised if they did film in front of a studio audience, at least probably maybe for the earlier episodes.
The first two, I believe that's been confirmed they did.
They actually, it's not like they actually had a studio audience.
Actual studio audience that
Awesome.
all signed NDAs and probably have had like last year after they saw the filming of the show have been living with a laser dot on their forehead for the entire time and have not talked about it. But yeah, I've seen a couple interviews where they did talk about that process. Because that was to sort of keep it
they're
authentic.
At the bottom of a river, but
yeah.
No, but I think that's a fascinating. This is going to be really interesting. Yeah, I think it's really fantastic. So I can't wait for that, and I really can't wait to explore more of Wanda herself. Like I felt she was slightly underserviced in the movies because there's so many characters. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of her. Vision, I could give or take. He's just a. He's just Jarvis in a robot body or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So he's kind of a bland character for me, but I'm still looking forward to seeing how they play off each other. Like I'm a fan of Paul Bettany. He's pretty good in everything he's in, but I think he will get to expand his acting chops here. So I think it'll be a fun watch.
I liked Paul Bettany more as Jarvis when they put him into Vision and he didn't have. His Vision was Age of Ultron, and then after that, it was in Civil War, and then Infinity War. Right? He didn't have a lot, but he didn't. He became really wooden after that. Like Jarvis was kind of cheeky, and Vision was just stiff. Which was
I agree. Yeah,
it was an odd choice, like to make that because they built in this iteration, like they built Vision off of Jarvis, so he should have. You feel like he should have had a little bit more personality. Not that he didn't he did an all right job with what he was given to work with. So I hope that they give him some material so that he can kind of like warm up to, or so we can warm up to him, I guess. I liked Scarlet Witch. I thought she was good. She was also underserviced, but I thought she did a good job with what she was given to work with. I liked her a lot in Age of Ultron. Actually, I thought she did a good job.
Yeah, she was good in that one.
Yeah, she has intensity about her. I'm looking forward to seeing. I really do think she can carry a series. So I'm looking forward to seeing.
One of the reviewers, they've been given the first 3 episodes. Without giving too much away, they have said that the chemistry between the two of them is really great. And that's like one of the stronger parts of the show. And that also Paul Bettany really shines, actually. And actually the 2 clips that I've watched, I didn't like laugh out loud. But he instantly had more charisma in the clips than I think Age of Ultron and Civil War combined.
Well, that's fantastic. Good. Yeah, good to hear.
Probably more lines of dialogue as well.
Well, I'm sure he'll. I'm sure he'll eclipse that.
Clips.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah, I was just going to say he'll probably beat that record in the movies in the first episode. So
yeah,
there you go. Yeah, no, I think it's going to be fun to watch. I'm really looking forward to it. This show has been, since it was announced, this has been my most anticipated thing on TV that I'm waiting for. So I'm really looking forward to watching it tomorrow. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. We get 2 of them tomorrow. Do we not?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So tomorrow we'll have to review 2 of these suckers back to back. So we'll get, it'll be nice to see that happen. Any other thoughts, guys? This is just a little snippet before, wet our whistles before tomorrow evening, and we get to discuss the first 2 episodes. So anything else you guys want to talk about?
The one thing I don't know if we have to talk about it, but I've often wondered, like, at what point is Marvel going to fly too close to the sun? I hope this is not it, because I guess, this is a good platform to experiment with new stuff. Like this and Loki are kind of the 2 things I'm looking forward most to. Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm looking forward to it, but it looks pretty conventional by Marvel standards.
Yeah, it looks generic. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I feel generic is a little derogatory, but it's very conventional. You could not like visually, stylistically separate that from any other Marvel movie. Like, and that is one of the I think valid criticisms of the MCU is that it all kind of bleeds together. And as someone who has watched them all back to back to back to back to back over a month, that is very true. Like even when you throw a Thor Ragnarok in there, it's very samey.
Yeah, it doesn't look any different. They all look the same.
It's not even just looking the same. It's all the same kind of
same
feel.
plot. Yeah.
Yeah. Once they hit about Age of Ultron, that's when it's like it's all just at that point it's all the same. Like look and feel, and even like the way that they tell a joke, like the way someone tells jokes, and they point out, oh, here's this thing that we're about to do, and it's all very quippy in the same way. And so that's where Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of look like that. But this and Loki look different enough.
I'm looking forward to She-Hulk, if only because I really love Tatiana Maslany.
You're like losing me. There's a She-Hulk coming now?
Yes.
There is.
Okay. Oh, okay. That'll be interesting.
There's also a Hawkeye show. There's a Secret Invasion show with Samuel L. Jackson and Paul Mendelsohn.
Yeah.
I feel like there's another show. There's a Moon Knight show as well.
Moon Knight.
Oh yeah. I heard about Moon Knight.
Ms. Marvel as well. Is there not?
Oh, and Ms. Marvel, yeah.
Are these all shows, or they're going to be movies?
They're all shows, but
they're all shows.
They will I think in the case of Ms. Marvel, I think the idea is that she would eventually be in a movie. I don't know if it's confirmed that she'll be in Marvel too, but I think that's kind of the current assumption right now.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how that kind of shakes out. But I think they're trying to build out so that they could transition any of their TV characters into the movies, unlike when they did their Netflix experiment, where they basically ignored the cinematic universe, basically ignored Daredevil and Luke Cage and all of those guys. So this is designed to be a little bit more integrated, and they could bring them into the films if and when they want.
Yeah. It's also kind of like around sort of like the corporate structure of it now, because those Marvel shows were part of like Marvel TV, and that was like a different guy in charge of that. Whereas this is Marvel Studios proper, so Kevin Feige has full control over it. But I mean, he keeps getting asked if those Marvel or the Netflix characters will ever get integrated, and he's very non-committal about anytime you ever ask him a question, it seems, in an interview. Yeah. But
well, you can't really blame him. I mean, there's so much out there.
He's the master. Answer. He's the master of giving an answer and not saying anything. There's been rumors that Charlie Cox might come back as Daredevil. I mean, that's more wishful thinking than anything.
I would bet money that we'll see 3 of those 4 characters, and you can guess which ones.
Oh, gee, really? Which 3? You don't?
Exactly.
There's
we're gonna see Charlie Cox as Daredevil again.
He is rumored to show up in the next Spider-Man movie, and
why not? So shit, I think I'm in the next Spider-Man movie, considering everybody already cast the fucking thing.
Yeah.
So I mean that'd be great, but it was like Daredevil season 1 especially. Season 2 was great. Like Charlie Cox was so good in it. Like Marvel's not dumb. They're not going to waste that. They're going to bring that stuff in. I also think we'll see Luke Cage. Possibly, I think they'd be ridiculously dumb to not bring Jessica Jones into it as well. I think it's just a matter of
would
time.
Be awesome if they brought in Charlie Cox to the She-Hulk show, because that's supposed to be a half-hour lawyer comedy show. It's supposed to be like an Ally McBeal. Right. So I think it'd be awesome. He never in the Daredevil suit. He's never Daredevil. He's just Matt Murdock.
That'd be hilarious. I think that's
and then
that'd be great.
Yeah, and then Jessica Jones is like in a scene like, here's your photos here, and then that's just their way back in. And I think Iron Fist will never come back now that they have Shang-Chi.
I agree.
Too many characters for me, but I've only seen like the first season of Daredevil, which was very good. I just haven't gotten around to watching more of that or any of the other shows. So
it's it's a little up and down.
so that's what I
Sometimes
heard. So I said I have to
down.
dedicate time. Yeah, with the very little time I have to pick and choose.
Like Jessica Jones
Yeah.
season 1, I think was excellent, and after
Yes.
that, I guess I'd probably skip everything after that.
But I will agree with you guys that they're probably through Disney Plus, Marvel on Disney Plus, they will probably have these characters pop in as cameos on all of these other shows and integrate everybody. And I think that's a good thing. You know, you mentioned it, Nathan, at the beginning of the show. I mean, the crossovers has been a comic lover's wet dream. So, and it's succeeded. So they will just continue this trend. You know, so they're going to celebrate their lore and their mythology. And I think that's fantastic. And they should. And hats off to them. I mean, I will say one thing.
I mean, they're doubling down on it, though. Like
they are doubling
before
down.
The crossovers, it'd be small cameos, but now it's as though it's not really a spoiler because it's not. I mean, kind of confirmed, but not really. But Scarlet Witch is in the next Doctor Strange movie. Somehow, all this ties into the next Spider-Man movie. The next Thor movie is going to have like half the Guardians of the Galaxy in it. Right. And then all these characters from the Disney Plus shows will intermix with the movie characters. So it's all crossovers all the time, baby. And I'm down for it.
You're right. They're going to double down on it. It might all get too much, but I guess we'll have to wait and see if Marvel's luck runs out and if Kevin Feige can still spin his, magic as he's doing right now. But I will say this, how about we just have a little bit of a closing thoughts to round this out, because we don't want to stay here too long. This is just a quick little episode as a warm-up for tomorrow. I'll start off, and then you guys can finish, is that I just want to say that I thought after Endgame, I was done with Marvel, in the sense that I was satisfied. It was a nice conclusion. Iron Man's gone, Captain America's a geezer and retired, and he's living a happy life. And hats off to him. He deserves it. Everyone kind of went off in their separate ways in a mostly satisfying way. And so I was content. And I said, this is the way to end things. Even though I knew more things were coming, there would be a new phase of Marvel movies and they'd be introducing new heroes. But I was kind of saying, you know what? I think this is a good stopping point for me. I'm not going to go support it or watch it or anything else. If I could watch it for free, sure, I might watch it here and there. But because of WandaVision, that really intrigued me. And I'm really looking forward to, hopefully this will get me right back into it. Because the previous Spider-Man movie didn't do it for me. I thought it was a load of garbage for me. And that's the one after Endgame. I am interested in Doctor Strange, that multiverse, whatever he's doing there, which I'm sure will tie into another Spider-Man movie that you mentioned there, Nathan. And yeah, I mean, I could dig Natalie Portman kicking some butt as Lady Thor, so I might give that a watch. But wasn't really that excited. So WandaVision really has gotten me a little bit more excited again about the MCU. So I do have that to be thankful for. You guys want to say anything else before we finish the sucker off?
No, I think we've said it all.
Yeah, no, I think we're in. I kind of agree with you that Endgame was a good off ramp for the what had come before for the previous 10 years. But I also am interested in the MCU's take on characters like Fantastic Four, which hasn't been done well, and I think it'd be great. I want to see what they do with the X-Men. I'm into that. I really liked the Spider-Man. I didn't like the first Spider-Man, but I did like Far From Home. I thought it was good. I think that's going to be short-lived, though, that whole Spider-Man situation.
Don't forget Blade. Blade's coming back.
Oh, my God. I can't wait for Blade. I forgot about Blade. How do we not talk about Blade? Yeah. Oh, yes.
Blade, yeah, I could dig Blade. But, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to top Snipes. But, yeah, I could dig it.
Yeah, it's impossible to top Snipes. It's got to be a completely different direction. But
I had always kind of wished they just retroactively had made him part of the MCU.
Yeah.
And it was just something that happened 15 years prior to Iron Man. That would have been awesome. But
he should show up in Spider-Man 3 just to confirm that is the case. That'd be
there
great.
You go.
But isn't he in jail or something? Like, what's up with Wesley Snipes? Or is he?
No,
he got out.
He's out. He's out.
He's out?
He got out in time. Didn't you see Expendables 3? Sly broke him out.
I did not. I figured he was living on. I figured he was living on Mars with Dr. Manhattan or something like that.
No, watch Dolomite Is My Name. He's in that. He's great.
Watch that. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I got to watch that. Yeah, I really want.
And I believe he's in the next. He's in Coming to America 2,
which is just Coming to America.
They didn't make it first time.
Number 2
to America.
America. Anyway, So I'm into it. I'm glad they're using the Disney Plus format to just go for it, because it's kind of low risk. If it doesn't work, nobody's hanging it on. Oh man, the last movie sucked. It's just another TV show, and you can kind of flood the zone, you know. And
this is where you can take your risks. Yeah, this is where you can take your risks, because you can have episodes that take a lot of risks, and then you can have your safe bet episodes as well, and you have that balance.
Exactly.
And I think that's fantastic. Whereas you're in a movie and you're 2 hours only, you're fucked. If you take your risk and it doesn't work, you're fucked. It's done.
You're fucked. Yeah. So good for them. Good for them for doing it. The vast conglomerate corporate overlord strategy is paying some dividends, and I'm glad that it's good for something. You know. So let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this. Okay. Well, I guess, and Nathan, anything else?
No, I think I've said my bit.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, we'll talk more tomorrow. So I guess that does it today. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll review the first 2 episodes.
Sounds good. See you then.
Let's do it. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Cheers, fellas.
See you.